Let's create an engaging 6E lesson. I'm going to take you step by step on how to create one of the most engaging lessons you will teach all year long. It's nighttime, it's Friday night, Saturday night, the kids are in bed, you've had a long day, but you still have to turn in these lesson plans. And even if you don't teach this lesson or grade, don't worry, you'll walk away with some great information that you can use in your next lesson as well. By the way, I'm Kiwanta, founder of Elite Kids, former classroom teacher, teacher trainer, and mom of two brilliant boys. Grab a copy of the 6E lesson plan template at shopelitekids.com under new teacher. Also pick up your own boy mom t-shirt at shopelitekids.com. The first thing you're going to do is pick a subject. This should be the easiest thing you have to do. You know what grade you teach. You know what subject you teach. I'm going to pick a fifth grade science lesson. Time is not on our side. We have a very limited window in which we can teach the lesson. We have to consider picture days, half days, Fridays, Mondays. I want to pick 45 minutes to teach this lesson. Now we're going to look at the academic standard. And the key here is to break it down to dust. You need to know the standard forwards and backwards. Consider how many days you have to teach the standard and how deep and wide you need to go with your students. For my academic standard today, we're going to talk about reflection and refraction. And the standard specifically says demonstrate that light travels in a straight line until it strikes an object, that's reflection, or travels through one medium to another, and that is refraction. Now I'm going to identify the verb in the standard. I'm going to grab out the most important information, and that verb is demonstrate. If you have your own Bloom's chart, or if you've downloaded the one from shopelitekids.com, you can see that demonstrate is under applying. And this is very important for when I begin to create the meat of my lesson. We have laid the foundation in a matter of minutes. You have identified the standard, you've identified the verb in the standard, you've matched it with Bloom's. Now you know how deep and how wide you need to go with the lesson. Now let's create your target focus. What do we want from the students? What do we need for them to do? What do we need them to demonstrate? Or what do we need them to answer? What question do we need them to answer? So for my lesson, I want the children to decide if a given object can reflect or refract light, and I want them to show how light interacts with different objects using arrows. So they are going to apply the knowledge that they receive from the lesson into real world situations. In order for the students to get them where I need them to go, I have to ask very specific questions to help them on their journey. So for my lesson, I need them to answer these 4 questions. How does light move? Why do you see yourself in the mirror? Why do you see color? And why does the pencil appear broken? These are very specific questions that I'm going to ask them to help them get to mastery. And I also need to identify or think about any misconceptions that they may have about the topic. My key facts are light travels in a straight line. Light bounces when it is reflected. Light travels through and bend when it is refracted. And some misconceptions may be that light bounces back in one direction. Once I have identified the key vocabulary words, I'm only going to use these words in my discussions, my lectures, during group time, and my one-on-one time. And I'm also going to make sure that the students use these words as well. For my lesson plan, I do have a block for materials, but I'm going to wait until the very end to fill this out. And just like that, in just a few minutes, you have already completed the second phase of your lesson planning journey. You consider your students. What do they need? What do they need to know? And what questions are you going to ask to help them climb that mountain to mastery? Now the fun begins. Now I get to actually get to the meat of the lesson. And the first E in 6E is engage. How do I hook my students? How do I pique their interest and assess prior knowledge? So this is what I'm going to do for this lesson. I'm going to turn off all the lights and I'm going to cover the window so that it is as dark as it can be in my room. I'm going to ask my students, what do you see or don't see? Then I'm going to take a basketball and begin to bounce the ball. And then I'll ask the students, what do you hear? Solicit some responses. I'll tell the students what they see and what they hear are actually connected. And trust me, their interests will be piqued. During the second E, we go right into explore. After piquing their interest, after cooking them in, I'm going to throw them right into exploration and discovery. And for my lesson, I'm going to give them a hand lens, a flashlight, a pencil, some construction paper, as well as other materials. I may have them do it individually. Most likely I'll put them in groups and I'll just have them explore. I'll ask questions, I'll get them to think, but I really want them to just get messy, get dirty. and explore with the materials that they have in front of them. And in my lesson plan, students receive a flashlight, a hand lens, and some other materials. Students must show light bouncing and bending. During the explain portion of the lesson, we're just going to have a conversation. We're just going to have some open dialogue. And I'm going to have the group presenters stand and share their results and their observations. And this is the time for me to then talk about those key vocabulary words. I'm going to explain that bouncing the ball is like reflection of light, and that bending light is refract. I'm going to call on those group presenters and say, okay, explain your observations again, but this time use reflect and refract. So we've been talking for a bit, and I may have started to lose some of the kids. So I'm going to re-engage them and elaborate on what they've learned. And this time, we're going to do an experiment as a whole class. Before class, I've already strategically placed bullseyes in different areas and walls of the classroom. I have a mirror that I bust out, and I have one child take the mirror and stand anywhere in the classroom that he or she likes. Then I'll have another child hold a flashlight, and I'll say, okay, I want you to hit the mirror and try to also hit bullseye A or bullseye B, and let's see what happens. Then I'm going to have the students explain, what is happening? How are we able to hit a bullseye over here while pointing the flashlight in this direction? Of course, we're checking for understanding. We're sprinkling in those questions throughout the lesson, but now it's time for us to double down on the evaluate portion of the 6E model. And right here, we're going to assess how much learning actually took place, how much did they master, ask a couple of open-ended questions, and then decide if it's going to be a formative assessment or a summative assessment. For my evaluate, I'm going to use ABC Engage and the scorecards. Students will hold up the cards in response to the questions. Students will also bubble in the answer on their answer documents. Then I will reveal the answer. I'm going to prepare my ABC Engage slides before the lesson, of course, so that I can just turn it on. I'm ready to go. I can do text-based questions. So for this one, I have how does light move? I have some incorrect answers. It doesn't zigzag. And then I want to make sure that I put the correct answer in a straight line here and here in a straight line. I can do pictures and graphs as well. This is an example of what? I have some incorrect answers, and then I need to put in the correct answer. Reflection, reflection. I'm going to cover it up so that it's perfectly aligned. During the lesson, I'm going to tell my class it's time to take out your ABC Engage cards. So each child will receive a set of cards. They're going to receive a set of cards. They may be already on the table because my classroom management game is on point. So all they have to do is just boop, take them out, and they're ready to go. I'm going to show my first question, how does light move? Then I'll reveal all the answers. I'm going to give the kids time to hold up an answer choice. So I'll see the answer from the front of the room. It's very large. And the child receives an inspiring and motivating quote. Here is Smarty saying, I think you're awesome, 100%. Hashtag superstar. So they'll hold up the answer. How does light move in a straight line? And then I reveal the answer. This way I can quickly assess, okay, did they master this one? Do they have this one? Who doesn't have it? I can also, while doing the ABC Engage, is to pass out answer documents or bubble sheets. And so I can say, okay, how does light move? And then they hold up their answer. I can quickly assess. And before revealing the answer, I can say, okay, bubble in your answer on your bubble sheet. And then I can reveal the answer. And for my picture or graph-based questions, it's the same exact thing. I will reveal the question, reveal all 4 answer choices. The kid holds up the answer. I can see it from anywhere in the room because these are quite large. And then I will reveal the answer. Now, to get your copy of ABC Engage, visit shopelitekids.com. You can choose from Edmojis, ABC Engage for the younger kids, as well as just the original ABC Engage downloaded directly to your computer. You don't have to worry about waiting for something in the mail, something to get lost in the mail. You'll receive the PowerPoint, the ABC Engage cards, the answer documents, bubble sheets, as well as a bonus, a mini coloring book. Now I'm going to have the kids extend the learning. They're going to apply what they learn and now transfer that onto either their homework assignment or a project. And I like to give projects instead of boring homework assignments because it really helps them connect personally with the material, and it's better than just a regular worksheet. And these are really simple. I'm not trying to have their parents go to Dollar Tree to buy everything in the place. No, it's just something really simple you can find around the home to conduct these experiments. So the students are at home. They will use a flashlight and their bathroom mirror, and they will face the mirror, and they're going to try to hit the target. They're going to try to hit something behind them in the bathroom using the flashlight. And then I'm going to have them draw a 2D diagram of their bathroom and to use different angles or different arrows to show me how the light travels. So we already have our standard classroom management procedures, expectations. We've already laid the foundation for that. Now I need to consider specific classroom management strategies or issues that may come up with this specific lesson. So I already know that when the children walk in, it's very dark, it's very spooky. So they're going to be they might be a little bit more antsy than usual. I'm going to assume that the students will play because the lights are out. I'm going to choose managers ahead of time to help me manage the situation. Who's going to hold the flashlight? Who's going to manage the materials? How I'm going to manage the noise, and how I'm going to manage my time. Differentiated instruction, or DI, is this, well, it can sometimes be this big, scary thing, but it really doesn't have to be. DI is simply giving children multiple opportunities to respond to the lesson. You have different students, they all have different needs. And so for my lesson, I have visual anchors with my PowerPoint ABC Engage. I have auditory anchors, we're talking, we're in groups, we're interacting with one another. Kinesthetic learners or kinesthetic anchors, I have flashlights and mirrors and all kinds of things that they're able to play with. Having an emotional connection for the kids. What would it feel like if you couldn't see in real life? Can you imagine what that would be? Can you imagine what that would be like? If light did not reflect off of objects and into your eyes, if light didn't reflect off of that pretty shirt you have on, or if light didn't reflect off of the face of someone that you really loved, what would that be like for you? Can you imagine what that would be like? So having different types of anchors, giving children multiple opportunities to respond to the lesson, giving children different ways to respond to the lesson. That's what DI is all about. And we are done. We have concluded our lesson planning journey. And even if you don't teach fifth grade, even if you don't teach science, there is something here for everyone. You can glean some really good elements, some really good information, and apply it to your grade and your subject. Get a copy of the 6E lesson from shopelitekids.com. Get your very own Elite Teacher t-shirt at shopelitekids.com, as well as ABC Engage from shopelitekids.com. Create your own 6E lesson. Take a picture of it. Tag me on social media or send me an email at hello@shopelitekids.com. I would love to see your lesson. And for your next lesson, click this next video right over here.